Hello and welcome to the Dutchin channel. It is Saturday the 13th of April 2024. It's just gone 8:30 in the morning and it's Grand National Day. But we're not here for the Grand National in this video. I was so busy yesterday and then with all the meetings that I had to do today. I'm behind with the results show, but as promised, we finally get here. And yesterday's meetings that we covered in the UK was Aintree, Fakenham and Southall, because later on during the day there, Leicester got abandoned, so we ended up with 3 meetings. So let's go back into yesterday, and you will see there in the bottom right hand corner, it was yet another profitable day, 192.33, the channel was up. So I was really happy with that. And of course, now we've had 7 profitable days in the last 10. But unbelievably, we are still losing money. I start with 1,000 bank there, and I'm now 37.87 adrift of that. But remember, the first 2 days were horrendous, and then we had a horrendous day on the 8th. So if you take a look at those and think to yourself, you was over 800 down in those 3 days alone. We've done marvellous really to come back. But the last couple of days, I have sort of changed the way we bet. And someone asked me, called Charles, if I would sort of just run through it a little bit differently. So let's have a look. I'm going to go back to yesterday. Now, what we're doing now, instead of just working from the top and coming down on the Dutchin system, not many people understand it. So what I've changed it to now is back in value selections. And what I mean by value selections is I have an SP that is in column Z. That's why I need a rating for a horse, and I can't back horses that haven't run before because it doesn't bring up an SP for them. Now this SP is for my guideline only, nobody else's. So don't think, well, how have you got Hartwood 5-2 and on Betfair it's 11-2? That's just the way I feel and the way it comes up and tells me what I think the prices should be. So you can see that if the Betfair SP is larger than what I give it, and it doesn't have to be the final SP, but I use the final SPs. As long as you can get bigger than my SP, then you're on a value bet. But I do it on the Betfair SP at the end here, so you can see what it would have been if you want to go back and look at the proof for it. So in that first race, we would have backed Hartwood because the price there was bigger than mine. And the same for the second horse down, Chianti Classico. This was 7.27. I made it 3.63. And then you can see on the third one here, this was the winner. I know the way you're thinking. Went off at 2.66, but I made it 5.43. And you'll see in most of these bets that I do that what I've been trying to do over the past few days is not do so many of these odds-on favourites that keep coming up. I'm not saying they all lose, because they don't. But overall, I don't think there's a profit in doing them. So this would have saved me quite a lot of money there, not doing that one, even though it won. All right, so we moved down to the fourth selection, which was Broadway Boy. And you can see again here, Betfair SP went off 11. I had 8.61, so I thought there was value in that, so I backed that as well. And the last 2 I didn't touch because you can see these figures are lower than my 2. So this doesn't take a lot of working out on how to do these selections. If the price that you're looking at now is bigger than what my price is, then that's value. You don't have to sit here and wait till the off. You can do them whenever you want, but remembering that you could stake a little bit more if you're going to do it at a high street bookmaker, or again, you're going to try and bet early morning where the over rounds are a lot higher. So the first race, you can see that I lost, but down here it tells you what I've lost. all right, which is £37.36. And that's obviously lower than the £50 that I normally stake. But there are some in here that will be more than £50. And then that's your choice whether you think, oh, it's gone overboard, I won't bet in that race. But that's entirely up to you. Then into the second race at Aintree yesterday. This was another one of those Skelton horses that they had laid out for the race where they run it 3 times, don't try with it, and then come out at Liverpool like they did Cheltenham and then make it go in. So this was my bottom selection. I made it 775. The Betfair SP was 775. I made it a 50 to 1 shot. So for me, it was another loss. But you can see down the bottom here, the stakes are now halving. 22.83 is all I laid out because I'm now only betting the prices that are bigger than what I think. Then moving into the third race at Aintree, this was the short-priced favourite. This was Mystical Power. That went off at 238. I thought 503 would be a value bet. So again, I'm not betting in those type of races. So we can see we laid out £17.45. So again, and we've got a few running for us, and we're not laying out much money. Albeit we're not winning because that's 3 races on the trot now that I've lost. Now moving into the fourth race, I didn't fancy Jonbon anyway. All right, because I've given it to come fourth. We mostly would have backed it going up to our 50 because there's the 3 there that would have come to 33. Would have had 17 quid on and still lost money. But I did fancy Conflated, Protectorat and Envoy Allen. They came second, third and fourth. So I was getting closer there, but again I'd staked £35, so I'd lost that one. Then into the 405, yet another loser. And I gave this one as 33, well no, it's 33 on Betfair I should say, and I made it 66. So that wasn't a value bet, but again, James de Burley coming to the elbow was a couple of lengths clear. I thought that's it, but then you could see this other one was coming strongly. But again, I've lost £37.85. It's not the £50 that we were losing every race because it was hard to get that back. So then I moved into the 440 after that, and bingo, it was time for a value bet to come in. So 555 was the Betfair SP, mine was 437. But again, if you look, we only laid out 27.81, but we are still returning 100. So I've won nearly £73 there instead of the 50, and I'm not losing 50. So the value is beginning to come my way, even though we're not winning. So into the last race, and of course, this was the big outsider, El Jeff, that came through and won. Now, I had this at 75.6, but it won on Betfair at 94.27. So at the end of it here, I laid out 31.64, and all I had to have on this was £1.06 to return £100. So that was another result for us. So we had won twice at Aintree, but lost 5 other races. So let me see if I think I've still got the other page open. So if we go into Aintree, you'll see here that they were the 7 stakes of £210.30, but I only drew twice. But those draws come to £200. So the whole day cost us £10.30 for having 5 losers, which is good. Which is good when you think you've only drawn twice. So then we'll go in and have a look at the second meeting there. That was Leicester that I'd already worked out before they abandoned it. Right, so we're going to Fakenham next. So I never worry now about having losers because I think I will have enough winners to counteract it. Not always. So the selection here was Motazen. This was my best bet of the day. You can see up there the 1.71 MySP. But it went off at 44.71. So you'd have only staked £2.24 anyway. But it ran a creditable race and finished fourth. So you could have done that for a place yesterday and still made money. But the winner was Yala Habibi. You can see at the bottom, looks like we've had 6 bets, but we've only laid out £14. So we were never going to worry if that was to lose. So we were 1-0 down there. Then in the next race, we just had a couple of bets again. This come to £25.57. Yet again, we were on the loser, but it looked like to me Jack's Touch was going to win it, and then something swamped it very late. So I was there for second place, but then that was another loser there at Fakenham. Then into the third race, which was the 308, and this is what I'll say about the favourites. Cloudy Wednesday went off at 364. I made it 418, so all my money wasn't going to be going on Cloudy Wednesday because the bet was under. Right, I need over prices at Betfair bigger than mine. And then our second selection, Tip Top Tonto, was the winner. And then we only laid out £24.66, but we're still returning £100. So we can afford 3 races like that and only have to win one of them instead of doing the 50, losing and having to win the next one to get your money back. Then we goes into the 353. My top selection was the Wise Traveller. I made it 414. Betfair said no, you can have 14.5. So that was handy, and that won as you like. So that was a big price, and again we only laid out £33.08, but we returned £100. Then the next race was my next best of the day. This was the 418 Coast Guard Station. So I made it 2.25 or 5 to 4, and it wins at 9 to 2, 5.64. So again, the stakes on it, we've laid out £32.42, and yet again we've got £100 back yet again. And that was my last race at Fakenham. So we'll go in and have a look at Fakenham. You can see there that we had staked 129.97 in 5 bets. Don't forget, we would have staked £250 because it was £50 per race. So we've not only staked £120 lower, but we've still returned £300. So we had a good day at Fakenham and won £170 and 3 pence. And then the evening meeting, this is where we had 6 selections or 6 races to bet in. But the first race, Mr. Squires, I was never getting that. I had 11.57, Betfair offered 6.2. So I wasn't getting that. But again, I did have the second there. And there's none of these prices now where you go, and I've only got £8 to have on it at 6 to 4. That's all I've got left. These will all return you £100. There is no middle ground in this. So I came second again, so I was happy with that. It didn't win. And then in the next race, we had Young Endless. We were quite lucky here because I had 425 and it went off at 427. So you think, I just made that. And that was a race where I had to lay out £50.37. So that was a winner for us at Southall. Then in the next race, and this is a prime example now, Louisiana Bay, that I had a win on last week, I think at Lingfield, went off at 2.1. Now that would have put me down about £45 on that. But I'm not going to be doing those bets no more. So £45 was saved. And my second selection, I made it 827. It wins at 875. So we've collected there and we've laid out £30.15. And we're still getting that £100 back. Then in the next race, this was my Margie, but the shortest three in the betting were all under what I thought they should be. So the only ones we backed were Speriamo and Signora Bellissima. And you can see, because they were the big outsiders, we only staked £5.49, even though they came fourth and fifth. It was just a little bet that we lost. So again, I wasn't worried about that. Then into the 8 o'clock, I feel a bit unlucky here. And I'm sure that I could have got above that price. So this was Prince Eric. This was 346, my SP, and the Betfair SP was 329. So it was just underneath that I couldn't have a bet. But you can see that we've backed 5 horses in the race. We haven't done very well. Best we got was 4th. But again, it's only staked £13.79. These £50 ones are now out the window near enough. And then into the last race, I felt I had chances here. I ended up with the 2nd and the 3rd. But the winner came through late, and I thought, Masham Moore 10.6, but I had 11.5. So I couldn't back that. And this was not the best loss, this one. It was 51.99. So this is what I say. We did win one earlier at £50.39. Now you got one at 51.99. Somewhere along the line, you can always say to yourself, I'm gonna draw a lot on, say, £40 I'm going to lay out in a race, and that's going to be it. So anything above that I'm not going to do. So you can set yourself what you want to do on this kind of system. But if we go back into the results at Southall, and as I say, I believe I could have had that one. You can see the stakes here, which came to 167.40. But we drew 2 races anyway, so there was still a profit at Southall of £32.60. So it was a good day. And if I wanted to up these stakes now, I could if I wanted to, because I've laid out just over £500 there. But if I was doing all 18 races, in the other way that I was at £50 a race, that's going to cost me £950. So if I wanted to, I could double my stake, or just under, maybe add 40% to it. And of course, then I'd have won another 40% this side. But that's something else I'll look at. Let's try and get this system working before anything else. So again, that's how I'm doing it. That's worked the last 2 days. And it's all about just moving money around. And maybe I need to show you a day where most of the favourites won't win. So that's just it. If you look at the averages, we know that 1 in 3 favourites win. So that means 2 lose. You can go through the card with every favourite winning and maybe just losing everything, but you're not betting them small ones that are going to cost you £50 each time. And some of them I was backing at £50. They were winning at 1 to 2. So you're only winning £25 on top. So it's hardly worth it, because in the next race, if you lose, you're still down. So this is the way forward, I think. And I think that's going to be about it on this video. But I did put up the Grand National when I finished. So that's on there, but it's not done this way, because if I'm putting 34 prices, then it's going to take me forever to do it. But again, all you've got to look at what I've given on my SP, and if you fancy a horse, just make sure that in the betting shop or wherever you're going to do it, online or on the exchanges, make sure that the price you're going to take is bigger than what I've given. And that will give you a chance. I'm not saying it's going to win, because there's 34 runners and it's a lottery. So good luck with whatever you're playing today. But the next meeting I'm going to put up after I've done this is going to be Chelmsford. Does start at 10 o'clock. My first is going to be in the 10:30, and then after that we'll go through Aintree, and then I've got another 4 meetings still to load. So it's not going to I'm not going to get all this done until about maybe 11, 12 o'clock. But good luck with whatever you're playing, and we'll catch up in the results show. I will do that tonight because I'm not under pressure. There's only 2 UK meetings tomorrow. Thanks for watching.